What's up, guys? Andrew Vader here, back with another video. We are back with some more MLB news and updates. I have not spoken about the MLB news in about a couple weeks. The last thing was the George Springer signing, couple days, and some things have happened. Some pretty, I would say not massive moves, but really productive moves for teams were made. We're going to be talking about the Michael Brantley, Jurickson Profar, Kike Hernandez, Garrett Richards, Jameson Dion trade, Brad Hand, and the Adam Ottavino trade. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into this video. Let's start off with Michael Brantley. Michael Brantley signed we all thought he was going to the Toronto Blue Jays with George Springer because he was boys with George Springer. I believe it was like on a 3-year deal, that it was like almost signed, sealed, and delivered, but no. The Astros come out and will come back and steal him away from Toronto, giving him a 2-year, $32 million deal with the Houston Astros. Michael Brantley is one of my favorite players. He's always been one of my favorite players. He's been one of the most underrated players in baseball. Last year, in 170 ABs, 5 home, a flat 300 average, OPS 840, on base of 364, 476 slug, and OPS plus of 126. Brantley's one of those guys who's just one of the hardest guys to strike out, one of maybe the smoothest left-handed swing in baseball. I've always loved Michael Brantley. He's one of those guys where he's probably going to be more of a DH. His defensive numbers and just defensively he has regressed. Obviously, he's getting older, but his bat plays, and he's one of the hardest guys to strike out. And Brantley, for his career, is a 297 hitter with an OPS of 794, OPS plus of 116. So the Astros do keep one of their outfielders. Probably Jordan's going to be the DH, and Brantley will probably play in left. They still don't have a center fielder or a right fielder because Reddick and obviously Springer now is a Toronto Blue Jay. So I like the signing of Houston. At least they keep some of their offense, but they do lose George Springer. Next up we have is Jurickson Profar signing a 3-year, $27 million or $21 million deal with the San Diego Padres, keeping him in San Diego after being traded from the Texas Rangers. Jurickson had a pretty solid season. Finally, he's not living up to his number one prospect in baseball status, but had a really solid season last year in 100 ABs at 278, 7 homers, 711 OPS, and OPS plus of 113. 100 is average, so he was above average last year. Jurickson, again, could pretty much play everywhere. OPS last year was 711, 771 last year, 793 in 2018 with the Rangers. Started to finally show 20 homers. Hit 20 homers again last year in 2019. So he's starting to kind of fill that bench. He plays everybody, second, short, third, the outfield. He's a great Swiss Army knife, and he's one of the 2 Swiss Army knife players that signed contracts. This time he did stay with the Padres. The Padres are just deadly. They continue to add Profar. It's a good move, adding depth. They bring in Hung Sung Kim. They have Jay Cronenworth. They have a ton of outfield, so they do have some depth, but obviously Tatis at short. So, good Profar is a good utility. I don't know why they needed him, but they kept him. It's a really good move for San Diego. Speaking of Swiss Army knife players and in a super utility, guys, Kike Hernandez did sign a 2-year, $14 million deal with the Boston Red Sox. Finally, the Boston Red Sox have decided to make some moves after everybody with the Blue Jays making moves, the Yankees making moves. Obviously, the Rays are pretty quiet after winning the American League pennant, but Kike signed a 2-year, $14 million deal. Not coming off the greatest regular season, had a really good postseason for the Red Dodgers last year in 139 ABs, 230 average, 5 homers, 20 RBIs, 20 runs scored, OPS of 680, OPS plus of 83. So he was below average, but you don't expect him. He's a utility guy. He can hit for some power. His best year was probably in 2018 at 806 OPS at 21 homers, 52 RBIs. Again, he's great against lefties. He'll play against lefties. Now, the Dodgers only use him as a lefty when he played lefty. So with Boston, he probably is going to be their starting second baseman, or probably I can see him starting anywhere in second base. Maybe if they lose JBJ, maybe he plays center. So it's a good move for JB. A good deal for Kike going to play in Boston. They add some lefties they face in that division, being like Hyun-Jin Ryu. The Yankees still have. They have a left-handed rotation now? They had Paxton. He's no longer there. But, that's a good bat. He'll probably still be their new starting second baseman. So, a good move for Boston. Again, $7 million. It was a guy the Mets were interested in. Kind of upset they didn't get him. But for $7 million, he can still play in Boston. And he is Puerto Rican. He played for the Puerto Rican national team. And Alex Cora is now the manager. Cora was the manager in the WBC. Speaking on some more Boston Red Sox news, they go out and sign a pitcher. They needed some starting pitching. Obviously, Chris Sale's hurt. Martin Perez, I believe, was either opted out or he was hurt last year as well. well. They brought Erod. Martin Perez resigned. They signed him. Erod, as that was the guy who I think was either opted out or was injured all of last year. So obviously they need to bring some starting pitching, and they have done that in a right-handed pitcher, Garrett Richards, who got a 1-year, $10 million deal. That's kind of like the going rate for starting pitcher, for like average starting pitcher, since the Drew Smyly contract kind of set the bar for the Braves, like 1 year, $10 million. You had Charlie Morton at 1 year at 15. You had Kluber at 1 year at 11. So you get like those reclamation projects / like kind of take a gamble on guys that are going for about $10 million. So Garrett Richards last year for the Padres in 51 in the third inning had a 4.03 ERA, a WHIP just about 1.247. And he's always had the potential, but the problem with Garrett Richards is he's always been pretty injury prone. His best season was in 2017-16, with the Angels had back-to-back ERAs of sub 3.5, and 220. But the only problem with those ERAs is that they've been in less than 35 innings pitched. So when he's been able to pitch big innings, and 2014 actually had a 2.61 in 168 and 2/3 innings. So they're hoping a buy low candidate. I wouldn't say buy low, but some depth in their rotation. A 32-year-old right-hander will go now from the San Diego Padres to the Boston Red Sox. Let's talk about one of the big trades the New York Yankees made in the past couple days, and they are continuing going for the most injury-prone rotation at base. I kid this guy. This is a really good pick. I do like Jameson. They acquired Jurickson Profar from the Pittsburgh Pirates for a prospect haul of, honestly, I don't know the Yankees prospect. As a Met fan, I could care less about the Yankees prospect. They didn't trade like Jason Dominguez, Devi, or Clark Schmidt, but they traded Jurickson Profar to the Yankees in exchange for Miguel Yajari, Rusno Contreras, Mikel Escato, and Kennedy Smith. I butchered all those names. I am sorry. I don't know the Yankees farm system. And I care not to care for Jurickson Profar, I'm just talking about Taillon. Cancer survivor. He had testicular cancer, I believe, in 2019, and he came back from it. He's a career 3.67 ERA in 466 innings pitched. Again, I've always liked Jurickson Profar. He's former teammates with Garrett Cole. That's why everybody's like, Garrett Cole, where him and Cole were the top prospects of the Pirates. One panned out away from Pittsburgh. We don't know what Jurickson Profar can do. Problem with Jurickson Profar, again, he's been injury prone, and the cancer sucked. But you look at some of his career years: 2016, 3.38; 2017, 4.44 ERA; 2018, 3.2. And in 2019, 4.10 ERA. The innings pitched: 104, 133, 191, and 37 and a third. So he's injury prone. It's a risk. It's a buy low reward. ERA plus. He's always been around 100. Lowest is 96 in 2017, highest at 123 in 2016. So again, they're getting a buy low candidate with here. They give some prospects. Everybody has said that the prospects are pretty decent. So the Pirates have continually traded pretty much everybody on their roster and added some prospects. And none of them top 100, but everyone's saying these guys are good. Again, I am a prospect guy, but I'm not like deep diving in every farm system. Obviously, the Mets different, but Taillon, I like the move for the Yankees. They add a really good pitcher to put behind now. Kluber and Cole will be opening day, and then Severino will come sometime in June, July, kind of when Noah Syndergaard comes back. So, good move from the Yankees. It's a solid move. Nothing really, it's a risk, but it's a good move for the Yankees to add some more pitching depth, which they're going to need. They even need to have young pitching, but having some depth in Major League and then not having to automatically go to the kids early in the year definitely helps. Let's make the next move that was the biggest signing that signed yesterday, which hurt, as a Met fan, hurt a lot seeing this. Brad Hand signed a 1 year, $10.5 million deal with the Washington Nationals. The Mets were heavily interested. The Blue Jays are heavily interested. We thought Ken Rosenthal a couple days said the Mets were reaching an agreement that the deal was going to be done really soon. After the day DJ LeMahieu signed with the Yankees, as Ken Rosenthal reported, that the Mets were close to a deal with Hand, and he fired his agent, and now he is no longer going to be a Met, obviously. Now he's going to be a division rival with the Washington Nationals to be their closer replacement. And I've seen a lot of, I think Heyman put out why. He's a West Palm Beach kid, and obviously the Nationals spring training camp is in West Palm Beach, and he wanted to play in Washington because he would guaranteed have the closer role and he wanted a 1 year deal to come back in the market next year. But with the Mets, he wasn't guaranteed to be the closer. You got guys like Lugo, you got Diaz, who are probably going to be the closers, and then like May, and then potentially if Betances bounce back, or guys like that. So he did not want to be one of the guys. He wanted to be the guy in the ninth inning. Brad Hand led the American League in saves last year in 22 innings, 2.05 ERA, 16 saves, struck out 29, whip under 1. He's a consistent all-star. He's a 3-time all-star, and as a lefty, 2 times with the San Diego Padres, 1 with the Cleveland Indians. He's always had a sub-3 ERA majority of his career. Career ERA in Miami when he was still younger, trying to find out who he was. I think he was a starter as well. Had some high ERAs, but once he became a reliever in San Diego, 2.16, 2.75, 3.01, 05, 2.28, 3.38, and last year obviously 2.05 ERA. ERA plus is over 100. Last year was a 2.26, his elite number. Always 145, 192, 127, 148, 196, and 136 as a reliever. So the Nationals get their Sean Doolittle replacement. The Mets don't get the best lefty available on the market. They struck out at center field. They struck out on the best center fielder available. Now they've struck out with the best left-handed reliever available. Obviously going with James McCann instead of JT Realmuto. Again, Mets trading for Francisco Lindor changed the offseason completely, but as a Met fan, I would have loved to see Brad Hand as a New York Met. But no, he goes in, and this NL East just continues to improve vastly, very quickly. And the last news in this video is going to be the Yankees and Red Sox trade. The Yankees and Red Sox make a move, which is happened this recently in 2014, a Stephen Drew for Kelly Johnson trade. But the Red Sox are acquiring Adam Ottavino and I believe a prospect, and the Yankees are just clearing the cap for cash. They've sent over $850K to the Red Sox. Adam Ottavino, who was one of the best relievers on the market, I believe in 2 years ago when he signed with the Yankees, had a really bad 2020. But again, I'm not taking much stock in 2020 stats for guys like Christian Yelich, Chris Bryant. There's so many great players that had really bad 2020s. I'm not taking that as hard as most people are. In 18 and a third inning, he had a 5.89 ERA, struck out 25. It was bad. It was a bad year for Adam Ottavino. Coming off a really solid year the year before in 66 and a third innings in 2019, had a 1.90 ERA. And then the year before, in his free agency year, 2.43 in Colorado in 77 and 2/3 innings. So they're getting a really good pitcher. ERA plus in 2019 was 2.37 again. That's elite. And then the year before that, 1.95. And then the year before that, in 2017, he was at 100 ERA plus, which is average. But Ottavino, they get a good, high expensive. I think he's making like $8 to $10 million. I don't know what the exact money is, but the Yankees cleared some money to sign. I think they're going to sign Brett Gardner for some. They're going to just keep bringing back Brett Gardner when there's better options available. Hey, the Yankees will love their guy, and they love Brett Gardner, so I'm not going to throw that much shade, but I would rather just sign Eddie Rosario. That's just me. Younger and better, but it's just me. Better and defensively, not as good, but you have really good defensive outfielders anyway. So yeah, the Yankees get like nothing, and the Red Sox get a potential bounce back candidate for a reliever. If they suck, it's a good trade chip at the deadline. So good move from Boston. And he's 35, so I mean, maybe he bounces back, and you can flip for a couple prospects at the deadline if the Red Sox are out of it, because I do not think the Red Sox can compete with the Yankees and the Blue Jays, and even the Rays, who we all know are laughing because they traded Blake Snell, but they're the Rays. They'll find Luis Patino will turn into a stud, and the Rays will be in it. So leave it in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of these moves? The Ottavino trade, Brad Hand and an ass, Jameson Taillon to the Yankees, Garrett Richards to the Red Sox, Kike to the Red Sox, Jurickson Profar re-signing with San Diego, and Michael Brantley re-signing with the Houston Astros. Leave it in the comment section down below. What do you guys think? Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notification bells so you never miss a mission of any MLB or Mets related content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.